everyone.
Morning.
We are podcasting day. Very excited. Today we have a very special guest, arguably one of our longest traveled, although you're in competition because now you're our second South African.
Yeah.
I hope to be known for this.
Oh, yeah, falling into a niche. I love it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So today we've got Dupre Nell from Anthonij Rupert Vineyards in South Africa, right outside Cape Town, which he's going to tell us all about. Also, he brought us wine, so clearly our favorite guest.
Thing.
Yes. Like immediate
Can't
points.
beat it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm super excited. First off, thank you for coming. I know that you just came off of a really very eventful Corks and Forks in Sarasota. Over 200
wineries.
Yeah,
probably about 3,000 guests.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun. Sold some wine, had some fun. So can't complain.
I can also attest. It was quite the event. I'm excited because there's so much history with this brand. And you also started as a marketer. So I feel like you can bring some like really cool insider thoughts for us too.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I think that's really cool about South Africa is that most properties have a lot of history. We've been making wine for over 300 years in South Africa, and with a big sort of European community that came to South Africa in the 1600s. The town we're from is called Franschhoek, which is the French corner. So our property, they started making wine there 300 years ago, 11 different families, French Huguenots. And then fast forward 11 generations, the Ruperts have owned Anthonij Rupert Wynes since the 60s. The family's been doing it for about 60 years now. And a very prominent family in South Africa. First started by Anthonij Rupert, which is the youngest brother of the current owner. And then he sadly passed away in a car accident. And then his brother, Johan Rupert, took over and actually called the winery Anthonij after his brother. And since then, we've been making great wines in Franschhoek.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
I had the chance to visit, and so I've got a little bit of insider scoop. And there is like sweeping grounds and some really also interesting things. But 300 years, I mean, our country hasn't even been around that long. So, like, really quite the heritage here. To kick us off, though, we always have an icebreaker. Really, before we get into like the roots of the vineyard. Okay, no, sorry for that.
Pun intended.
Yeah. Tell us what is the most unexpected place you've ended up drinking really good wine.
Jeepers. I struggled to actually find exactly what that moment was. I think one of the funnest and most unexpected places was in a hotel lobby, which doesn't sound very unexpected, but it was about 4:00 in the morning after taking our customers from the Netherlands to like this really cool like bar on the beach, and they just serve rosé, and it's like very classic, like almost Provence. And the night just completely went away with us, and we were drinking Dom Perignon at 4:00 in the morning in the hotel lobby.
Job.
Sounds like my kind of party.
That was really unexpected, but some cool moments traveling around the world and at home in South Africa. In this business, there's a lot of unexpected things that happen.
Yeah, I honestly, your travel, I don't know how your body stays on one time zone or one clock. I mean, that's got to be impossible. It feels like you're one country to the next quickly, which is what I'm pretty excited to ask you more about, all of these travels. I do want to know, as we kind of kick off and think about the vineyard and sort of the industry as a whole, right? So because you're traveling, because you're interfacing with so many different types of people and places, how are you experiencing the brand? Like, how are you introducing that first? Do you introduce it through the brand and the history? Do you introduce it through the juice? Is it through, like, the product lineup? Like, what's your approach? How do you get people to know what you're selling?
Yeah, I think that's always a difficult thing with wine. It's sort of a three-pronged approach. You know, obviously the most important thing is the juice, the vino, the product. In the end of the day, I think we can build wine up so much with all these beautiful stories, but also it's a juice, it's something that people should enjoy, and it's a beverage. So you kind of lead in with that where it's from, a little bit of the story, but the most important thing, I think, is always the juice. And it depends how and in what circumstances. I think it's sometimes easier in like a festival setting because, there's nothing better than liquid on lips. That's like the most important thing in the industry is liquid on lips, liquid on lips. With wine, you can create all these stories, but if the juice isn't good in the bottle, then you won't survive. And I think that's the most important thing. And all of the most successful brands in the world is the quality trumps everything. And you have to sort of lead with that. And then I think brand equity sort of builds from how people then perceive your wine, how long you've been around, and then, a real brand starts to form.
Yeah. I feel like you have had so many awards given to the brand, all different varietals, and yet you don't take yourself too seriously and pretentious about wine, which I really appreciate. Is that a South African thing, or is that a you thing, or is that how do you approach that?
I think, it's probably a me and a South African thing. I think, obviously, where you grow up and the culture you immerse yourself in sort of forms you. I think, even though a lot of people say, we make the best wine in the world, we also know that we probably don't make the best wine in the world. There's so many different aspects and countries. And if you go to a big trade show like we're going to in Paris, you just see jeepers. You're actually also just a small fish in a really big pond. Yeah. And I think it must never go to your head. You can't become complacent. You need to always strive to make the best wine. And if this year was your best vintage, next year needs to be an even better vintage. And I think South Africans, we sort of always the underdogs in life. And I think, we don't become complacent and take things too serious.
Yeah, what do you feel like the biggest misconception about South African wine? Because you're on the map, right? People know South Africa has wine, but where do you think people misunderstand the most?
I think the biggest thing is post 1994, because South Africa's history, we were segregated from the world. The system was made that wine was made only for South Africa. Nothing was really exported. So there were two big co-ops that dominated the business, and there weren't a lot of private wineries, in the 70s, 60s. And what happened was post 94, no one had the logistical power and the resources to export to the world quickly enough. Only those big co-ops had. And what they did was with the cheapest wines. So the misconception that they created was that South Africa makes cheap and cheerful and not very good quality. And I think that's been, over the past 30 years, also really one of our biggest challenge to sort of change people's perceptions of South Africa is a player in the quality winemaking field. It's not just the cheap and cheerful stuff you get in supermarkets.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I feel like to that end, pouring your wine in different cultures and countries, and you're like, should we do it now?
Yeah, I really want to do it. I'm getting thirsty.
Let's
talking
do it.
about
Open,
wine.
Open it up.
Let's definitely start with some Chenin.
Don't let us stop you.
Yeah.
I want to understand how different cultures, as you're not just selling, but pouring, tasting, experiencing, are there, I know this personally. You were telling me you were just in Japan.
Yeah.
And thank you. And how do things change? What are you seeing differently? How do Americans experience wine differently than other cultures? Or is there no difference at all?
No, there's definitely a big, I think culturally, there's a big difference wherever I go in the world. Like you mentioned, sort of Asia and Africa is relatively more new in drinking wine. If you look at sort of the Western Hemisphere, Europe and the US, wine's already part of our culture. You go into a restaurant and every single restaurant has a wine glass. People drink wine with their food. They drink wine when they watch TV. In South Africa, the culture's there because of our sort of European background. But if you go further in Africa and Asia, it's still big beer sort of culture if they drink alcohol. So going to China for the first time was just like sort of mind-boggling that 90% of the restaurants don't even have wine glasses. You know, the culture is not there yet. So they drink a lot of French wine now because it's what they believe is the original, you know, the godfather of wine. And they haven't branched out to all the other nations like South Africa and US and things like that because it's still quite a new thing for them, and it hasn't been part of their cuisine for thousands of years. They've got their own type of wines.
Right.
And,
I think it's really cool how wine takes on the identity of the culture where it ends up being like made and travels, like from Europe to South Africa, from Europe to California becoming a giant, to New Zealand and Australia and Chile, and then you know, I don't know anything about the Japanese or if they make wine or if they're you know, they have the ability to do that there, but they grabbed onto whiskey and started making whiskey after they got whiskey from America and from Ireland, and they spent so much attention on making the best, and they have some of the best whiskey in the world. So it's like cool to see what happens like as like that wine culture travels to new places, and then what comes out of it.
Yeah, I think really the thing that I love about wine, it's also sort of a type of art form. It really is the expression of set terroir, or I almost hate that word because it's overused, set land, property, vineyard, but then it's so much of it is the natural sort of environment it grows up in and sort of starts. But then also the winemaker has such a big sort of free reign to express how he believes that piece of land should taste in the final wine. Yeah. So
speaking of art,
an intersection of art and science.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just poured us a delicious glass of wine that came out of a bottle. That is a piece of art. Can you tell us a little bit more about this one? Yeah,
so Anthonij Rupert, we make 6 different brands, but the 2 that we really focus on in the United States is Protea and Anthonij Rupert Wynes. And Protea is our national flower. It's the only place in the world that Protea grows is in the Western Cape, which is around Cape Town, let's say about 3 hours in the Fynbos. So Protea being our national flower, it inspired us to make these beautiful bottles.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, so we worked with a designer. His name's Mark Eisen, a very famous designer, and he did all these different flower patterns that grow around the estate or within the vineyards. So we make 8 different wines in the Protea brand, and each of them has their own pattern. So it's quite cool. It's burnt into the glass, so it's not actually a sticker or label, which is amazing. It can't come off. But then the whole point of this project is great wine. The wine has to be really good, but it's all about repurposing and being very conscious about the environment. You know, for wine to keep on going, we're reliant on nature, and if the climate continues to change, we won't be able to make wine. So these wine bottles, we actually have a specific glue on the labels that are designed just to peel straight off. And then we use a special cork called the Helix cork. So it's like a screw top, but it is a real cork. So it just twists off. And what we want people to actually do is repurpose it. Don't throw it away. Don't even recycle it. Reuse it as a water bottle, olive oil, your chili. You can cut and make anything, you know, it doesn't end with the wine, which is also really important.
That's amazing.
As a bottle and jar collector, I love that. I'm always looking for like, is your jar cool? Is your bottle cool? Can I save it? Can I use it? So that's like such an incredible concept, and being able to cork it is really cool.
Yeah, and like I said, the most important thing is still the juice inside. So this is Chenin Blanc, what South Africa is known for. We've got the most Chenin planted in the whole world. So originally from the Loire Valley in France, but now South Africa is known for Chenin, and sort of the wine that's become a real ambassador for South Africa. Fresh, clean, vibrant, but lots of like nice stone fruit. And anywhere in the world, this Chenin Blanc is not a big thing yet. So it gives sort of South Africa sort of this like niche and this sort of thing to lead in with, because not a lot of other nations do Chenin Blanc.
So Protea, as we know, amazing flagship, one of the flagship, but the other two are some
That's
really nice award-winning.
exactly.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Anthonij Rupert range, like I mentioned earlier, it's the Rupert family is a very prominent business family in South Africa. They currently own the second biggest luxury brand group in the world called Richemont.
Okay.
So Mr. Rupert started it. They own brands such as Cartier, Montblanc, Panerai, IWC. So obviously a big thing is like in terms of like branding. And Anthonij Rupert is now our flagship. So it's named after his brother who started the winery. And then he named the wines after his brother as a homage because he really started the brand.
And this one particular, I like to keep in my collection. But
Beautiful.
can you tell us?
Yeah, so the
more
Optima,
about-
yeah. So in this range, it's only red wines. It's only wines from our estate. So it's what grows best on the property: Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot. And the Optima is my personal favorite. We've been making since 1982. It's an expression of our property. So it's the 3 grapes that actually grow best on the property. And it's like this typical Bordeaux style blend, but we make it so that it's really accessible and juicy and still easy to drink. You don't have to wait another 10 or 15 years like most Bordeaux style blends. And it's our passport for our winery. It's what the wine we're best known for. And it's what we want to show the world. Look, we can make great wine that's extremely well priced and very classic still. Yeah.
You mentioned the 3 grapes that grow on the property, which is expansive. And you've got a car museum, a racetrack, horses, cottages. I know I'm missing things.
It's
Tell
not a
us-
racetrack, it's a farm road.
Oh, thank you.
It's a,
Okay. Tell us about the property. Like, what are the untold stories? What's the history? What's a story that like never makes its way
Yeah.
into the daylight about the property?
yeah, I think something that you don't see is actually one of the coolest things. So, as you can see on the label, there's a very big mountain in the background. So that's the Drakensberg mountain, and there's actually a waterfall on the property that when it rains, there's a lot of water that goes down there. So we actually have a hydro power plant. So big thing for our winery is also that sustainability thing. So in South Africa, we've had problems with electricity before. So sustainability is very important.
Yeah.
So that hydro power plant gives us enough power for the whole winter that we can be off grid. We don't have to rely on the
That's awesome.
local
So
grid.
cool, yeah.
So that's a little bit of an untold story. You don't see it because it's so high up in the mountain, and only in winter you'll see the waterfall going. But then there's also amazing stuff like we have a horse racing stud and a Wagyu stud on the farm, and so a lot going on there. Very cool
So
estate.
many amazing things on one property. I mean, the wine is the star, clearly, but if you visit, there are some really awesome things. The way he designed I'm going to mess this up, so help me out here. The way he designed the cellar with all the tech
Yeah.
to look like the inside of a watch too is so cool. Can you just talk to that for a
Yeah,
second?
so I think that's also one of it's something that not a lot of people can see. So very special guests come to the cellar, only VIPs. And it's, like I said, the Rupert family, big part of their business is luxury watch brands like IWC and Panerai. So the architect, when they started designing in 2003, felt it needs to work like the inner workings of a watch. So it's all gravity fed. It's 25 meters into the mountain. Sorry, my feet conversion, I don't know feet or
We'll take
inch
meters, we're good.
yards, but 25 meters built into the mountain, and it's all done on gravity. So that's how it works, like the inner workings of a watch. Up at the top is where we process the grapes, and then with gravity, it's a mechanical flywheel, and there's 12 oak fermenters and 12 stainless steel fermenters, like a watch, like the hours, and then the whole roof actually rotates to drop the grapes in this different tanks for fermentation.
That's
and then,
so cool.
Yeah. So everything works on gravity. We don't pump against gravity, and that just gives your wine a lot of elegance. It helps with the aging as well. So if you think about it, why gravity? It's like if you play sports and you're 10 years old and you sprain your ankle. Within 2 weeks, you're fine, and then you're running and nothing. But when you get to like 60, 70, you can feel that ankle is a little bit sore. And that's same with the wine. If you work the wine too hard and too rough in the cellar, in the first 10 years, it won't show. But it will definitely show when the wine gets 30, 40 years old.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, that
Even
was
at 40,
so awesome.
Sometimes that happens too. So working, with gravity and really to create, the flavor palette and how the grapes are supposed to be fermented with technology.
No, exactly.
Like, I feel like people sometimes use technology to work against what's going on, and you have embraced more and more of that to make even better wine.
No, certainly. I think you have to embrace the tools that are available to you. Wine is still quite it is a natural process. Even a lot of people say natural fermentation is only with the natural yeast, but it's still a natural process. Even if you add yeast, it's a natural fermentation, it's a natural thing. And you have to use technology to make the best wine you can. Like I said, it's all about quality. We continuously strive to make a better wine every single year, because that's what it's about. It's an expression of the terroir, the winemaker, and the tools they have available to them.
Yeah. So much of the wine industry has stayed the same years over years, minus the technology piece, right? And yet there are things that change, such as people's flavor palettes and profiles and the types of grape that's popular. What are you seeing now as like the next season or era of winemaking?
Yeah, that's always that's $1 million question. I think if we could see into the future, I'll be a very, very wealthy man. Yeah. But what we're seeing is like sort of in the early 2000s, it was all about big and bold and really rich style. We're going the opposite, and I think tastes are quite cyclical.
Yeah.
So now everyone's really into fresh, clean, crunchy, juicy, lower alcohol, not these big wines where you can only maybe drink a glass or only one bottle. Like I always say, we sell wine in bottles, not in a single glass. It should be evolving as you drink it, but you should be able to finish a bottle of wine without really struggling. So coming to
I've been training for this for years.
Same.
I feel good.
Exactly. So crunchy, fresh, bright, things like Cinsault, Pinot Noir, even Cabernet is becoming lighter, more elegant. That's sort of the style that the whole world's moving towards, instead of like really rich, big wines. You'll always have them, but I think the style is more towards something more elegant, more enjoyable. Yeah.
I think it tracks against what we're seeing with just general alcohol consumption too, right? People are drinking less overall, so the trend towards a more accessible wine that you can actually, finish the bottle or two.
Yeah.
Not encouraging, but just in case.
Leaves more of the big bold stuff for me.
And honestly, same. Apparently, I'm stuck in the early 2000s. So
it's all right.
Yeah. Okay, we've got some rapid fire questions for you.
Shoot.
And these are always fun because you never know what's going to happen here. We know that you travel a lot, all over the continents, selling, drinking, experiencing, forming relationships. What's one travel rule that you live by?
Jeepers, drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay hydrated.
In this business, stay hydrated.
Yeah. Smart. What's one city whose wine culture surprised you?
Definitely Japan. I think, just the entire city, but the culture behind wine and fine wine is also really, really good there. They're discerning and they like good wine.
Love it. What's the one bottle of wine you'd buy or open without hesitation if money wasn't a consideration?
Always bubbles, champagne. That's my go-to. So Krug, I love Krug. It's amazing. It's not the most expensive, but it's really good stuff. And without a doubt, go for the bubbles.
Smart. One rule you quietly break when no one from the wine industry is watching.
Jeepers, that's a tough one. I just rip off the capsule. Yeah, I don't cut it. I just rip it off.
Yeah, smart. In case you don't know how to do that, that is a hack.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what's the most unconventional way you've had to open a bottle of wine?
many different ones. The boot always works well,
Yeah.
but probably the most unconventional was breaking the neck.
Oof.
Desperate times.
Desperate. What's one thing, final question, what's one thing you wish more people knew about Anthonij Rupert Wynes?
Sure, sorry.
No?
Blank. That we make great Sangiovese.
Oh. Okay.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have to hit up Jerry, who's directly outside, for a bottle of that then. This is amazing.
That's great.
Dupré, always a pleasure.
No, thank you so much for having me.
We're going to stay and drink this wine.
Yeah, we're definitely.
So I don't know
The
about
bottle's
you,
not
but
finished yet.
Yeah.
It's all about finishing the bottle.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check out our next podcast. Subscribe. Like. Also join our newsletter. You're going to love it. It's the best of the best. See you guys next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.